Hi, this is Scott from Specter Gear. For today's video, I wanted to talk to you about dot sights and the fine art of being a Luddite and breaking that bad habit. If you've followed any of the other videos that I've done in the past out here on the range, you probably noticed that I'm an iron sight kind of guy, and I haven't really weighed in on the topic of iron sights versus dot sights. But I think now's the time to actually talk about it because I've had a couple of recent revelations when it comes to dot sights or close combat optics or whatever the hell you want to call them. But recently I upped my game in a big way with this carbine right here, and I'll be talking more about that later. And the shop that I got it from, they did the build on it, but it's an interesting carbine, and I mean this thing is absolutely state of the art in every single way. And I did that for a very specific reason, because the gear I was rocking with up to this point was basically an AR-15 platform that I built in the 1980s and used for many, many, many years. But it had the carry handle and the standard iron sights on it. And back when I was tactically relevant, which stopped in around the year 2001, dot sights were still kind of working their way into the inventory and into use by teams and shooters out there, but pretty much everybody was still using iron sights. And my entire shooting foundation was based on iron sight usage, and I'm good with iron sights. I legitimately am. So when it came to dot sights, my opinion on them was always, hey, my iron sights never run out of batteries, and I don't need to turn my sights on to make them work. And I would just dismiss them, and I never really jumped on the train. Avoided shooting guns that had dot sights on them. Came up with a lot of excuses as to why I didn't want to play. And a lot of it just had to do with the fact that the world was moving on beyond the point at which I was tactically relevant. And I think I didn't want to admit that. But recently, I've been working with dot sights, specifically the Romeo 5 by SIG. And I got to tell you, absolute revelation. Unreal how much faster I am on sight acquisition with these things. And I know I'm preaching to the choir for about 90% of you out there. This is for the 10% that are still sitting there doing that same thing that I did. Hey, iron sights always work for me. They'll continue working for me. Dude, try a dot sight at some point. You're going to be surprised, especially if, like me, your eyesight's starting to fail. And I've reached the point now to where I kind of can't shoot handguns without some kind of corrective lenses because I can't see my front sight anymore. The dot sight, I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I can keep both sights open, and I can be absolutely deadly accurate and fast, like really super fast. But like I say, for a lot of you, this is absolutely preaching to the choir. But wanted to throw it out there for some of the old timers that are still chugging along, and maybe you need to get on board. So I'm going to take the little PC carbine out on the range right now and kind of demonstrate a little bit about that. Now, I really won't be able to do an A/B response test and show you how much faster I am, but I just want to have an excuse to shoot the PC carbine. But also show that the latest upgrade we have for the PC carbine, and it is verging on being perfect at this point. The last piece of the puzzle, aside from a lot of Loctite, was that sight right there. So I'm going to take it out on the range here in a couple of minutes and shoot it. So stand by just a moment, and I'll pop some rounds off with it. So without further, well, just hang on a minute. All right, it's a little bit windy out here on the range, but we are up on the line with the PC carbine. Want to pop off a couple of rounds with the Romeo X5 sight on this, but I will tell you that again, very happy with this sight, very happy with the experience I've had with it so far. And I'll talk a little bit on a later tabletop about how to set up the sight on the gun, whether or not to use a riser or not, and some different reasons for that. So I'll do that when we can take a little closer look at it. But for now, I just want to pop off a few rounds to kind of see how my speed and my pace is with the dot sight versus my iron sights, which I'm already conditioned to using. And I'm already on video enough with the iron sights, so should be able to tell just by comparing the two different videos whether or not there's any kind of appreciable difference in terms of picking up my sight picture and getting those rounds off nice and fast. So without further ado, let's go ahead and press a few off and see how it works. love the dot sight. It is faster. It is so much faster. And you notice rather than just stay on the gun and just keep pressing them away, I keep doing the low ready to full presentation because it just amazes me how quickly I'm able to pick up that dot and get that round off, and it's right on target every single time. And that's the biggest appreciable difference between iron sights and the dot sight. With the iron sight, you've got that moment, and that moment is a measurable amount of time where you have to catch that front sight, align it with that rear sight, and even with the flash sight picture. Takes a little bit of time to line all those parts up, whereas all you have to do is just bring this up and you see that dot and you can press. As soon as you see that dot and that dot is where you want that round to land, it is literally that fast. And again, I know I'm already preaching to the choir for a lot of you out there, but again, this is a word of encouragement to those of you that have been slow to adapt to dot sights and close combat optics. Give one a try. Definitely give it a try, and I think you're going to like what you find. So with that, bring it to a close. Thank you for watching and or listening. This is Scott from Specter Gear. Have a wonderful day.